Assalamualaikum and hi. Our group would like to present about knowledge, attitude and prevention on dengue in Padang for our subject research. Okay, so this is my group members.
First introduction. In introduction, we are talking about dengue, government action and prevention. Dengue. What is dengue? Dengue is one of the viral disease carried by Aedes mosquito. For the government action, the government have create a vaccine to boost immunization. The government also conduct a program. Minister of Health organize a program named National Dengue Strategic Plan. But all the action are useless because the case deaths are still increasing. For prevention, so the best medicine right now is prevention, but too many people know about prevention. Due to curiosity, that's why we are conducting this study. Next, the problem statement from this study is dengue is fatal. Many people die to the dengue fever and it keep increasing even until now. And dengue also have no cure. The major problem here is that there is no medicine or no cure for these diseases. And prevention is the only solution. As the saying goes, prevention is better than cure. Next, for research question, what is the relationship, knowledge and attitude about dengue fever? And what is the difference in median knowledge, attitude, prevention and demographic characteristic? For research objective is to identify the relationship, knowledge and attitude about dengue fever and to determine the difference in median knowledge, attitude, prevention and demographic characteristic. Next, for the null hypothesis. For the null hypothesis, there is no correlation between knowledge and attitude about dengue fever, and there is no difference in median knowledge, attitude, prevention, and demographic characteristic. For the research hypothesis, there is a significant correlation between knowledge and attitude about dengue fever, and there is a difference in median knowledge, attitude, prevention, and demographic characteristic. Next, operation definition. We are talking about 5 things. The first one is knowledge. What is knowledge? Knowledge is a fact, information. Example, in this study, we want to know the level of knowledge among community in Batang, Padang. Next, attitude. Attitude is a settled way of thinking based on knowledge. Example, from this survey, the more they know about the dengue, the more they will act more wisely. The third one is prevention. What is prevention? Prevention is the act of stopping something from happening or stopping someone from doing something. The fourth one is community. What is community? Community is a group of people who are living in the same area or have particular characteristic in common. Last one is dengue fever. The dengue fever is type of the disease that is caused by mosquitoes, and this cause high fever, headache and even joint pains.
For the literature review, we did research for 4 different variables, which is dengue, knowledge, attitude and prevention. For dengue, dengue is a serious illness that caused by mosquitoes that can cause sudden high fever, severe headache, muscle and joint pain and rashes. These are transmitted to humans through the bite of mosquitoes, and dengue is also known as viral infection. For knowledge, our study demonstrates the deficiency of knowledge regarding attributes of dengue infection, such as the cause of dengue fever and its symptoms. And for the attitude, the suggestion emerged because of this study indicated that respondents were aware and knowledgeable about the dengue fever, but they were not concerned about the impact of dengue epidemic. And for the prevention, to curb dengue, reducing the vector population and prevention of virus transmission are equally important. Without community participants, it is impossible to reduce dengue prevalence.
Okay, next is our methodology. We choose Batang Padang as our population. For the sample, there are Taparut, Sungkai and Bido, and we're conducting this research using online survey, which is Google Form. Okay, so interest variable for our research is knowledge, attitude and prevention. And for our criteria, there are 5, which are age, gender, level of education, marital status and race. Okay, now is socio-demographic. We have 233 sample, and this is the frequency for each criteria for our research.
Now, we go to the analysis and result. For the first objective, we want to identify the relationship between knowledge, attitude and prevention about dengue fever among community in Batang Padang District Perak. So, if you want to know the correlation, we will use Pearson correlation in this study. For the first pair, knowledge and attitude, the correlation is 0.699 and the p-value is less than 0.001. It means that there is moderate positive correlation between knowledge and attitude. For the second pair, the correlation is 0.517. It means there is weak positive correlation between knowledge and prevention. And the last pair, attitude and prevention, the correlation is 0.532, which is, it means that there is weak positive correlation between attitude and prevention. The p-value is same, which is less than 0.001. For this slide, this is a scatter diagram that can be confirmed to know the relationship between knowledge, attitude and prevention that I said just now. So as you can see, for the tree scatter diagram, there is positive correlation between knowledge, attitude and prevention, like I explained from the previous slide. Second objective, to determine the different or median knowledge demographic characteristic. So for the first step, we need to know there is a normal distribution or not by using histogram. So as you can see, this is the histogram of total score knowledge with demographic characteristic. So as you can see, all histogram of total score of knowledge and socio-demographic characteristic shows that normality assumptions are not satisfied. Since the assumption of normality are not satisfied, we will use Mann-Whitney test, which is A, and Kruskal-Wallis test, which is B. So for the Mann-Whitney test, as you can see, for Mann-Whitney test, we will use in gender and also marital status. So in this case, that there is significant difference between median total score of knowledge and gender since the p-value was 0.041. Meanwhile, there is also significant difference between total score of knowledge and marital status since the p-value was 0.05. So for the Kruskal-Wallis test, it was found that there was no significant difference or median between total score of knowledge and ethnicity since the p-value was 0.996. Meanwhile, there is also no difference or median between total score of knowledge and level of education since the p-value was 0.853. Next, we go to the third objective, which is to determine the different or median attitude demographic characteristic. So as you can see, there is some of histogram. As you can see just now, all histogram of total score of attitude and socio-demographic characteristic shows that normality assumptions are not satisfied. Since the normality assumptions are not satisfied, same as previous objective, we will use Mann-Whitney test and also Kruskal-Wallis test. So for the Mann-Whitney test, the results show that there is no significant difference between median total score of attitude and gender since the p-value was 0.336. Meanwhile, there is significant difference between total score of attitude and marital status since the p-value was 0.044. For Kruskal-Wallis test, it was found that no difference or median between total score of attitude and ethnicity since the p-value was 0.996. Meanwhile, for the level of education, there is also no significant difference between median total score of attitude and level of education because the p-value was 0.853. Now we go for the last objective, which is we want to determine the different or median prevention demographic characteristic. As you can see, there is some of histogram we want to test whether there is normality assumption or not. So this is our continuous slide from the previous slide, the histogram. So as you can see that this is also that all histogram of total score of prevention and social demographic characteristic shows that normality assumptions are not satisfied. So since the normality assumptions are not satisfied, we will also use the Mann-Whitney test and Kruskal-Wallis test. So for the Mann-Whitney test, the result shows that there is no significant difference between median total score of prevention and gender since the p-value was 0.142. Meanwhile, there is no significance also for difference between total score of prevention and marital status since the p-value was 0.064. For Kruskal-Wallis test, it was found that no difference on median between total score of prevention and ethnicity since the p-value was 0.996. Meanwhile, there is also no difference on median between total score of prevention and level of education since the p-value was 0.853.
For the conclusion, by doing this research, we can understand awareness level because we examine the knowledge component of how well the public understand the dengue fever. And the second one is assessing attitudes because attitude towards dengue prevention measures can influence behavior. So positive attitude are more likely to result in proactive measure being taken. And the last one is improving the community members because all members community involved in this research.
That's all from us. Thank you.